Dexter, quit. Not in the background. Hey, Dexter. That's so gross, Dexter. I know you like to be clean, but you realize you're on dirt right now, right? Hey guys, how's it going? It's time for the May garden tour, and this is the tour of destruction because that's pretty much what has been going on during the month of May. As you can see behind me, we have kind of a mess going on. You might have seen the video where we had the great big elm tree removed. It was a super messy, dirty, dangerous tree. It was dropping limbs everywhere. I'm really glad that it's gone almost. We still have the stump yet to take out, but there was also a huge concrete weir right in this spot. We had an excavator come in with a backhoe. He took it out, and then they had to bring in a jackhammer to break it up into pieces to haul it out. And then just today, the electricians were here to start trenching so we could get these electrical lines buried. I just really didn't want to have to worry about electrical lines and trees and all that stuff. And since this is kind of a blank slate area for us, we thought, you know what, even if we need to go a little slower with some big projects, we'd rather do things right and well. So I'm really excited about this. I really want to develop this side of the house. In fact, we have 65 beautiful North Pole arborvitaes right there lined up on the fence. We got them earlier this spring. You've probably seen them in a ton of videos, like in the background. And the reason why they're not planted yet is because we initially thought that we were going to have soil brought in and so that we could level up this ground, like have a retaining wall built up by the fence so that we could just level the whole thing up. We've since decided not to do that, but I just decided like in the last week not to do that. So I could have had them planted like 2 months ago. So I've been watering them every single day up against a fence. They're hanging out and they're doing good. The reason why I chose North Pole was because they only get about 3 to 5 feet wide, which is perfect. They stay nice and narrow. They get about 15 feet tall, so they'll be a beautiful living wall, green all year round, and they won't take up a ton of space because this is where my vegetable garden is going. And I'm hoping to have that vegetable garden in here in the next 2 weeks. I know that's kind of hard to believe with all this stuff right here. I mean, we have junk to haul off, a tree stump to grind out, and then we have to have the excavator come back in and just level this one spot, bring in some fill dirt. Anyway, it's just, we've had a lot going on. Let me show you where the electricians have been working today to start trenching. Okay, but I gotta stop really quick because the other thing that we've had going on this month, we've had some young men here helping us rip out some of our privet hedging. I know a lot of you are gonna be excited about that because I've been complaining about our privet hedging for a while. When we moved in last year, the previous owners were actually going to start replacing them because they're like 30 plus years old. They've just run their life cycle. They don't look that great anymore. This is where one section was. So they're gone. It looks so much better. And I have boxwoods coming. I did order some boxwoods so we can start some new fresh evergreen hedges. So that section's gone, and the section that runs all the way up to where the fence starts again. All gone. It just looks better not to have them here, honestly. They were so wide, they were taking up so much of our driveway. Anyway, you can see right here where the electricians have been, and they do everything so tidy. I really, really appreciate when people come in and really do a clean job. So they're gonna bring the power through this trench to our house, and you can see the area that I just planted. I don't know what I was thinking quite. We just kind of did a little makeover to this little section. I knew this was gonna happen. So anyway, this morning I was frantically digging up impatiens and repotting them in a pot. So they're sitting back behind my spireas there, and I'll replant them when this is all put back together. I am like the world's worst planner, you guys. And then there's more trenching right here, and it goes to that pole that's on the outside of our property. So that's where the power will come from, and this pole will be gone. Won't that look so much better? Not to have, I mean, there's 4 lines coming off this one pole. I'm really looking forward to having that gone. And then we want to kind of widen out this driveway a little bit so it's not so narrow to turn. Anyway, that's kind of the plan. That's what we're dealing with right now. But there's some other areas where we've had more privets out that I do want to show you. Okay. Also, spoiler alert, I'm going to be planting some new stuff in this area. I'm really excited to show you. But this bed, I just wanted to show you how it's kind of filled in. I actually haven't planted a single dang thing in this bed yet. I take that back. I did a tree peony on the kind of the other side. I'll show you that. But this area right here is how it looked when we moved in. I kind of have had to do a little taming of the violas. These want to like go everywhere, but it's really very pretty. I do think I want to put something red in here, not something super tall because I do like being able to see right here. Maybe like a summer wine 9-bark or something beautiful, arching kind of stems. Anyway, I just think that this is a really lush, kind of calming bed. I like it. There's some salvia there, just blooming, and some perennial geraniums. See, my roses are just about ready to pop. They're all budded up, showing color. I have a few blooms up front that I'll show you. Also, I just planted a bunch of Supertunia Bordeaux up here. You're going to see a video tomorrow that explains all of this. But this is where I planted my tree peony, right in here. It's doing really well. Of course, it's done blooming, but I wanted to kind of fill in this spot right here. These geraniums, I don't know if these are Johnson's Blue, but they just get massive. I think I'm about ready to see what they do. They go in and they flop. I'm about ready to shear these back. And then they'll flush back a little bit and they'll stay more compact. I don't really care for it when plants get so, bleh, you know, like that. I like them to be a little bit more contained, I guess, is the word. Still haven't got our fountain up and running. I don't know how we haven't done that, Erin. Just hasn't been a priority. So all the privets that were right here, gone. It looks so much better having nothing there than having those. They were probably this spring, maybe 90% dead. So this last winter kind of did them in even further. So they look so good. I cannot wait to get boxwoods in. We did have 4 boxwoods at the garden center, 4 big ones left. So I bought those and brought those home. So that's kind of what it's going to look like for a while in all the areas where the privets were taken out. But it'll be fresh. They'll be evergreen. And I like privet hedges. I mean, I think they look very pretty, but I don't really want my structure in the garden to be deciduous. I want it to be more evergreen so I don't have to worry about, one, the leaves, but I also want it to look very pretty in the wintertime as well. So Versailles Garden is looking really nice too. See, look at this. This is a little taste of what we've been taking out with the privets. I mean, I'm sure that most of you would agree that it's time. So I did some mass planting up here too. That'll be in tomorrow's video as well. This little area that we planted up last fall is doing fantastic. All the tulips did great. I went in and deadheaded them. I'm leaving them until the foliage dies back a little bit. But these boxwoods, I swear they've doubled. These are sprinter boxwoods, and every single one of them made it through the winter, and every single one of them has put on a bunch of new growth. Because they were probably like, I want to say they were like that size when I planted them. And they've just like broadened out. I'm really, really happy with them. All the Russian sage is doing great. So I'm hoping by the time all of these fizzle out, the Russian sage has put on a little bit more growth. I will have a little bit of extra space in here this year just because the boxwoods, you know, they won't be their full size for a while. So I might tuck a few annuals in there. I'm not sure yet. But I've been really enjoying these 2 estate square planters. I just love seeing that color because our driveway is just like directly in front of me. So when we drive by, I can see these and they're just so bright and so pretty. And the centerpiece grass, which if you saw the video, I explained that the centerpiece was a little smaller than, you know, I maybe would have liked, but it's growing. I mean, it's coming up. I can see it a lot more than just a couple weeks ago. I think it was a couple weeks I've had these in. But they're just growing and doing great. And I also put these bleaker planters up here. And I've really liked these. I think it's a really peaceful looking arrangement to me, just because it's kind of tonal. There's not a lot of fight for color. It's just very calming. The Browalia here, I can't remember the name, Illumination, something, Browalia, it's beautiful. It's put on actually a lot more blooms since I planted it. I think this is just a couple days they've been up here. Look at this. Look at all these blooms. This gets direct sun in the morning for just a couple hours and that's it. So I think everything's going to do well. We'll see. A couple more containers I did way early this spring. There were big red, like kind of reddish burgundy tulips in here. They're still in here. I still haven't cleaned them out. Everything else has done great. I haven't reworked these yet. I plan on it because, you know, I want to put something in here, and I might just like clear out those tulip bulbs, plant them in the garden, and pop something else in there, maybe a geranium or something, because I think that these will go for a while. They're in enough shade that the pansiolas I think will do really nicely. This is another spot that we had cleared out. There was like the thickest carpet of ivy in this spot. It went all the way onto the sidewalk, like this far right here. So you had to walk around it, and then it went around, like around the lilac here, up into the lilac, and it came all the way over here. So this whole spot was full of ivy. And I tried to do it myself. I started and I got it about this far, and it was so rooted in. I had the young guys that we had come out. They did everything so quickly and so clean. It was just, it's just worth it. You know, some of those big things like the privets, I can't physically take out myself, and stuff like this that's just such hard work. You know, sometimes you need a hand. So I've been really thankful that we've been able to get somebody out here. Everybody's so busy right now. Okay, so this is kind of a funny thing. I've got a bunch of beautiful iceberg roses. Look at this. Last year, I could not for the life of me figure out why I could not keep them contained. Because you know, there's iceberg floribunda and there's an iceberg climber. So this spring when I was cleaning up around them, I saw all their little tags. These are all climbers. All 17 of, there's 17 icebergs in here, and they're all climbers, and I'm thinking that that was a mistake, because if you've ever grown or seen an iceberg climbing rose, they get huge. My parents had them when I was growing up. I mean, they get trunks on them this big. So there's 17 icebergs out here with nothing to climb on. So I've got to figure out something for this area. I think I'm gonna let them do their thing this year because I do really like these roses. I'd love to try to dig them up and move them somewhere where they can do their thing, and I won't have to constantly be cutting them down. But yeah, so there you go. Let me show you a couple other areas where the privets were taken out. Oh, but look, that's pretty. Right here, there was a super thick, well, you can see it came this far out onto the sidewalk. So we had, you know, a pretty narrow area, and it went all the way over to right here. That's how wide it was. And it was pretty much dead. So this section has been taken out all the way to the sidewalk there, and there was a section of privets that went right from the fireplace and went around to about, I don't know, about right here. So those have been taken out, ready for boxwoods, and then we've still got a bunch more to go. So we've got this section right here. I was actually going to leave all the privets this year. It wasn't on my radar because I had prioritized some other projects, but I just don't think I can look at them for another year like this. Even if we don't have enough boxwoods to fill in the area, I think it'll be better just not to have them. And then all of these here. So there's sections of these that don't look too bad, but then there's big sections that are pretty yuck. Look at this. One area I have really enjoyed this spring is this spot right here. This is the area up to our back door. I planted a bunch of white stock right there. It smells clovey. I can actually smell it right now. I planted some delphiniums back in there. It looks like I need to do some pruning right here. That's way too low. But I also had all of my labellipop tulips right here. There was 100 of them, and they were stunning this spring. I just did this area as well. The boxwood that was here got smashed in our snow. So I took that out, put in little North Star I think. Yeah, boxwoods. So I want to do just a little hedge, like a little tiny one, and then filled it in with hellebores. And then we were sent this copper plant stand from Gardener's Supply, and it's the perfect stand for this spot. When we got it, I wasn't exactly positive where I was going to put it, and it just ended up here, and I love it. I love looking at it every time I walk by, and I've been enjoying these pots a lot. I think they've really filled in nicely. This doesn't get any sun at all right here. So I put in I think this is a sword fern, autumn frost hosta, a black mondo grass, a chocolate, I can't remember the name. It's in one of our vlogs. But it's got chocolate covered leaves and white flowers. It's a begonia, some pink impatiens, and then some variegated ivy. I just think they're really pretty. And this here is the rose garden. So not a lot of action yet, but there are tons of buds everywhere. Whoops, there is this one right here. I think this rose bush is gonna have to be relocated though, because I mean, like, I just ran into it. It's right in the road here. I do try to keep them pruned back, but a little tough. There's an angel face blooming right out there. Looks like there's some, I think this is like a Julio Iglesias, I think. There's a bunch of them just ready to open. This looks like a pumpkin patch. I like that one a lot. And these are gorgeous. These are kind of a chartreusey green cream color. Really pretty. And I do have one English rose. You can see it right on the end there. That's called the Lady Gardener. And it's an absolutely gorgeous rose. I actually have it in a container. But I just want to update you on a few of the containers we did earlier this spring as well. Oh, this one. Can't remember the names. Lemon Symphony Osteospermum, Supertunia Honey, and Super Bells. I think those are Blue Moon Punch. I think it's a really pretty mix. It's turned out really well. The spruce lollipop that I thought I was gonna lose looks like it's putting on a bunch of new growth, and it's doing okay. We just did this project last week. We dug this big boxwood up in an area up front, and we weren't able to get as many roots as I hoped we could. But we transplanted it anyway because it's too beautiful a plant to just compost or toss. So put it in the container. I watered it in with root stimulator. It has not skipped a beat. It hasn't shown any signs of stress yet. And the last 2 days have been in the 90s. So I'm really, really happy about that. Of course, the annuals in the pot look pretty. Those are Blue Bubbles, Bacopa, and Coral Berry Punch Super Bells. Also planted these Marguerite daisies. This container is the one I'm actually most impressed with right now. So way early this spring, I planted in this blue, I don't know if we can even see it. It's like a little cobalt blue, I think it's a 12-inch pot. I only put 4 plants in it. And I even told you guys that you should be proud of me for only using 4 plants. Look at it. This Marguerite daisy, this is called Butterfly. This started out like this tall and like this big around. And it's just like, oh. You guys need to plant some of these. I'm so impressed with them. Just how big this one has grown and how many buds. It's always in bloom. And then there's a coconut nemesia. This is tropical sunrise, super bells, and a bluebird nemesia. I think it's a really pretty mix. You can't even see the pot now. It's just doing really well. Of course, this raised bed vegetable garden is doing beautifully too. This one was from Gardener's Supply, and I just put in a bunch of like 4 packs lettuce. There's a couple of peppers in here. There's a tomato plant, which look, I have a tomato on there. Nope, there's several. Oh, look. That's exciting. Another pepper right there. There's a bunch of herbs, and the lettuce is just absolutely insane. It's looking really nice. So there's this one too that we did earlier. I used an iris as a centerpiece, which just went out of bloom. It bloomed beautiful purple. I did a heucherella, a Supertunia honey, and there's a lemon symphony in here and a blood orange nemesia. Everything has coexisted very nicely. It's grown in a lot. There's this one here. I've loved this one. This has got a Nosferatu daylily in there. There's some sedum, bluebird nemesia, and then some more of the tropical sunrise super bells. I think that's really pretty. I've loved these galvanized containers too. They're self-watering. They've been working out pretty good. And this here's St. Francis. He was here when we moved in, and he was in the location we just put the pot with the big boxwood. He was up in there. So I don't really know what I'm gonna do with this. Probably find somebody who wants to display him in their yard. So, and then right here we've got another butterfly Marguerite daisy, super huge. This is probably, and this is weird, I can't believe I'm admitting that this is one of my favorites because it's got red in it, but this is probably the most happy arrangement I've about ever done. Doesn't it just look happy? It looks so bright and just healthy. It's doing really well. Also, the hanging baskets here, we've got this is a sun-loving basket with a geranium, a couple different varieties of super bells, nemesia, and potato vine. Then I've got kind of a shade loving one. This spot is kind of versatile. So I've got a dragon wing, angel wing, dragon wing, I don't know, begonia, a purple Chablis lamium, really pretty bacopa, and then we've got a coleus that's not digging it super well. I just need to groom it, I think. Yeah. And then we have a dexter right here, looking especially lounged. And then this planter here, I put some red romaine in here, which I think turned out really pretty. Red romaine lettuce, super tunia honey, lemon coral sedum, which I can tell it's not getting quite enough light. It is getting a little bit leggy, so I should probably move this container out a little bit. And then some blood orange nemesia. I think it's real pretty. And then I did want to give you an update on how these raised beds are doing, because we did a video, actually a couple of videos out here where I planted my asparagus. So not all of it came up, but most all of it came up, and it's doing really, really well. I resisted the temptation to pick some and eat it. I'm not supposed to the first year, but I think like 40 out of the 48 I planted came up, which I think is pretty good. Anyway, actually today I just mulched. In fact, I forgot to change my shirt before this video. I'm still dirty. So I mulched it today. I actually put some bunny manure in there. I just babysat my sister-in-law and her family's bunnies while they were on vacation, and so I got the benefit of having some free bunny manure. So I just top dressed the whole area and then put a layer of compost on it. I've got a couple of rhubarb, which I have to admit, I'm not really thrilled with their progress. They've just sat there. That's kind of what they look like when I planted them. They haven't really done anything. So we'll see. I might need to add something into the soil around them. Cabbage is doing great. It's starting to head up, which is really fun. And I think even if I didn't like cabbage, I think I would grow it because I love the way it looks. I love the texture. Then of course the two pots, a pot full of herbs and a pot full of strawberries and raspberries. They're both doing really well. So this container is still sitting here. We just had this in a video. This is one of the Crescent self-watering containers, and I just haven't figured out exactly where I want to put it, and it's already full of water, so I kind of need to be committed to the spot I want it to stay because I don't want to move it twice. But I love the way it looks. I think the olive color looks really pretty with this combination. Pretty nice. Garage pots are doing great. I'm actually surprised because those pansiolas have been hanging in there in our 90-degree weather. I do think I'm about ready to pull those out and plant them. I've got a place I know where I want to put them. So I'll plant the pansiolas out, and then I've got some new summer heat-loving annuals I want to put in here. And then I wanted to show you a couple of things over here. First of all, I have a flat of this pincushion flower that I just absolutely love. It's a house hybrid mix is what it's called, and I think it's some of the biggest flowers I have about ever seen, and I haven't decided where I want to put it yet, so I just kind of stuck it out here in a spot that gets enough sun. But they're beautiful, and I mean, check out the stalks on these things. They're all the way down to here. So for flower arranging, like how nice is that? And they hold really long. I've been cutting them for flower arrangements even though they're not planted. Really nice. These have done really great out here. They get full sun almost all day long. So there's one on either side, either corner of the greenhouse. And there, I did some super bells in them, yellow chiffon and coralina, blue moon punch, some ageratum, floss flower, coconut nemesia right here. And then of course this is a mint julep juniper. And I like stuff like this. I like the abundance and the overflowing flowers, but I also like structure and formality. So this kind of marries them both, I think. But I think that the galvanized looks really nice with the greenhouse. The styles kind of fit, I think. What do you guys think? And you can probably see some color in the greenhouse. We've got projects for days, weeks. Okay. So there's a couple other spots I want to show you. This is the first one. This is just our backyard garden. We call it the formal garden just because of the urns, I guess. There's a boxwood kind of configuration in there. I haven't done really anything right in this garden. I am fixing to pull up grass, probably not this year, but I'm thinking about like a really pretty design of cutouts to plant up. So I did slide a couple of purple fountain grasses down in those urns. I haven't planted them yet. They're still in their original pots down inside the pots. But I do think I will plant this little spot up. You can see we have some projects going on. We are putting gravel all the way up to the grass right here so that Aaron can get the lawnmower in and out easy from back behind the barn. There really just wasn't an easy way for that. So we'll create some kind of a barrier here, and then I'm going to plant this up with annuals. That's actually on the list for this week. Dexter, he follows us around like a dog. He's like the best cat ever. Hey, kitty kitty. Also, look away. Don't spoil the future projects. Oh, I think I should, I want to talk about these really quick. These were the pots that were up by our back door, like our patio balcony doors. Last year, they had huge hydrangeas in them. I moved these all into our greenhouse for the winter, but they still had some dieback. We had a horrible winter. So I cut them back. They are flushing. They're coming, this one's doing really well. I've been giving them a little extra care. I gave them some fertilizer. They're doing it. But I moved them back here because I'm about ready to transplant them out into the ground because I want to give them the best shot at life. So I've got some really nice areas like in this spot right in here that are nice and like they're protected from the hot afternoon sun. So anyway, I'm going to plant those out and then I'm going to use those, I think, in our new vegetable garden because I think that's a good look for a vegetable garden. And this other spot right here, I planted some, were they Zinfandel? Were they Zinfandel hydrangeas? I planted 3 of them and then 3 Empress Wu hostas. Hostas all came back great. The 2 of the Zinfandels came back great. One of them actually didn't, it shocked last year after I planted it. It died all the way back this spring. I cut it back, I fertilized it, I've been watering it extra, and I just noticed the last couple of days that it's just kind of crunched up. So I might have to replace that one. That just happens. I'm just thankful it's one and not all 3. Right here, I'm just gonna point this spot out. Right here, there was a huge Oregon grape, like huge. It went all the way in front of our tool shed, like it almost went to the door, and it was dead in the center. The whole thing was dead. It had a few outerlying leaves that were still like okay, but we just took that out because it was just kind of unsightly. And I'm going to put a boxwood hedge. We have a boxwood hedge planted out in the middle of our grass, kind of in a random spot. I'm going to try to dig that whole hedge out and transplant it right here. I stepped it off and it actually fits perfect. So we'll see. And I think I have room for maybe some more hydrangeas in here. Okay, I said I had like 2 spots left, but there's so many things in this garden I want to show you. These are some of the pansies that came out of some of my spring pots. So if they're blooming and looking beautiful still, I always try to reuse them in the garden somewhere just because, you know, I mean, look at their faces. They're doing so well still. I mean, some of them are a little like straggly, but they still have some really pretty colors. So I'll just enjoy them as long as they want to keep looking like that. Now this is truly the last spot I wanted to show you just because I think it's so pretty this time of year. This pathway right here with the Jupiter's beard, and there's dianthus. I mean, you might remember this whole makeover area. We've got dianthus that came back really nicely. The daisy made daisies, maestro sedums. On this side, like I said, the Jupiter's beard, there's blue fescue. Right over here, some white salvia. And then we've got some hardy geraniums, but I do think I need something tall right here. I think I need, well, I know for sure I'm going to put some kind of evergreen right back in that spot. And I'm going to kind of redo this back area for some more height and color back there to draw your eye. But I need something ornamental and small, but not huge to go in this spot. I might move this grass and do something right in here. Not sure yet. I think that's about it for the May garden tour. I mean, there's tons more areas, but not a whole lot going on in them yet. There is a beautiful peony over here that I just noticed is in bloom. I don't know how I missed that. Oh my, yep. That is so pretty. Don't you love these? I just, love to have a garden just full of them. So that's it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed seeing everything we have going on right now. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of holes I need to fill, a lot of flower beds I want and need to redesign. And it's just, I don't know, it's never ending, which is nice. That's what I want. I want a garden that I can just keep on doing stuff in because that's what I love to do. So June garden tour should be a lot different, because hopefully by the time we do that, we'll have the vegetable garden in. We can show you all of that. And hopefully we have some other things worked on by then. And then more of the roses will be in bloom by then. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.